With Resident Evil's continuous rising popularity since 2017, it is no surprise that the modding community has grown for the series. Resident Evil 2 Remake had a ton of mods on release despite the RE engine still being fairly new, and this trend would continue with Resident Evil 3 Remake and Village. A plethora of costume and gun mods, enemy mods like turning them all into Mr. X or Nemesis, third or first person mods for different perspectives, and even an item randomizer for Resident Evil 2. Giving players more incentive than ever to goof around in multiple playthroughs is what the modding community does best. But what about mods that aren't for goofing around? Mods that bring a new harder challenge to the game that only the most skilled players can surpass. The one-hit KO mods for RE2 and 3 Remake are the most basic, but that all changed with the Madness mod for Village, turning all enemies into the craziest bullet sponges I've ever seen in a Resident Evil game. Unfortunately, that's all it did, and while the classics continue to get completely game-changing mods, the newer titles would be too difficult of a task. The Resident Evil 2 Remake hardcore randomizers are the most interesting ones thus far, and most turn to that for the extra challenge. But I think it is finally time for a mod that really brings something new to the table. After all of these recent titles, a modder by the name of Multi has developed one for Resident Evil 4 Remake called Nightmare Mode. And it is as scary as it sounds. I'm going to explain how it all works as I take you through my entire professional difficulty Nightmare Mode playthrough. The first thing to explain is what this mod actually does to change the game. The Nightmare mod greatly increases the game's difficulty, but can be played on any of the base difficulties provided in the game. The recommended difficulty for the mod is standard, whereas hardcore and professional are only recommended to those who are very experienced or masochistic. The mod includes increased merchant prices, changing items in the Pesetas and Spinal stores, increased damage to Leon, changing key item locations, and more aggressive enemies. Put all of this together with the already punishing professional difficulty and you have yourself one seriously hard game. Even more stuff has been changed than what I've just listed, but I'll leave all of that explanation for the playthrough. Before I started this playthrough, I had actually already played Nightmare version 1.2, but that only changed the merchant store a bit and increased the damage values and AI aggression. It was pretty cool, but it felt more like the base layer of a bigger concept. Version 1.3 here is definitely that bigger concept. Funny enough, the only reason I made that speedrunners are breaking Resident Evil 4 video before is actually because I was originally going to make the Nightmare video, but that was on version 1.2, and when I checked the Nexus page, it had been updated with a big new update, which is this, version 1.3. So to get things started, directly after the first encounter, the lodge key has been moved. Now, it hasn't been moved very far, but it was moved. And that is already convincing me that things are going to get interesting later on. Moments later, I open my inventory to see that I have the Punisher, the TMP, a green, red, yellow herb combo, and no combat knife. I have no knife. Not having the combat knife is detrimental to any playthrough, especially on professional, so this first village segment is going to be rough. I was stuck here way longer than my version 1.2 run, but not just for the lack of knife. The enemies are actually much quicker in this version, and Dr. Salvador appears as soon as you've alerted the Gyarados. You don't even have to run into the shotgun house. Not only that, but 15 kills is not enough to end this sequence anymore. You have to kill 20, or at least that's the amount I felt like I killed. While I get my ass handed to me, I will list some differences about the Gyanado attacks. Back grabs act more like front grabs now, since the damage output is so high. And the front grabs, well, those are probably going to put you in danger if you don't have a knife. And not only that, but getting hit by most Gyanado weapons, such as the sickle or the axe, is going to put you in danger, and some of the attacks later on in the castle and the island are just one-hit kills. Hell, even the push animation to stagger you will do a bit of damage, which means you are 99.9% of the time going to get immediately hit due to how fast the enemies are now. In the vanilla game, pushes don't do damage, so this means you can die to these pushes, which is actually pretty funny. Gyarados are so fast and aggressive, the pitchfork charge will be unavoidable sometimes based on how far away you are. And with all that said, this was probably one of the toughest parts of the early game. But Chapter 1 wasn't done with its surprises. When I finally got to the farm, it was time to look for the blue medallions. In completely different places. Because all of them have been moved, and some of them are in not so obvious places. Not only that, but the map does not accommodate for where they've been moved to. The reason why this was a challenge is because I needed to look for all of them without getting clobbered by Gyarados. I thought it would be possible to do so without using up resources, but alas, I had to take care of them. After a lot of looking around, I finally decided to check ahead by the cabin, and would you look at that. The last one I needed is on the gondola. Masterful placement. With that, I move on to Chapter 2, where even more surprises await me. The first one? The dead Ganado at the beginning doesn't have a kitchen knife, meaning I have to aggro both Ganados before breaking the barrel for one. This ended up making me use some healing items, but it wasn't much of a problem. The real problem is Red Mist Valley. The emblem has been moved from its original spot, so I checked everywhere else where items would originally spawn. That's when I found out that it wasn't just the emblem that was gone. The small key in the box was also moved. I wasn't exactly sure what to think, so I opted for killing everyone, and then looking around, and then redoing the section after knowing where the emblem had been moved. Funny enough, it was actually hanging on the wall right next to the small box. Woo-wee! It was just fucking hanging right here, bro. After that stressful scenario, I went ahead and used the merchant for the first time and crafted as well. As mentioned before, the merchant menu has been completely changed and prices are increased on everything. I opted to sell my treasures and buy the rifle while I can still get the scope for free. Something I did not mention before at the start of the video was that the crafting menu is also completely different. Ammo recipes have been changed, first aids can be made out of herbs and resources, hand grenades can be made out of a shoddy shell and the usual gunpowder and resource combo, and even a laser sight can be crafted with ammo. So yeah, definitely crafting a laser sight for my Punisher. From there, I moved on to Mendez's house, only to find that the second small key was moved to where the marble originally is. This confused the heck out of me, and my only option is to backtrack. Killing the Dr. Salvador is the only way of making this back and forth less stressful, so I do that and head back to the drawer that would usually have the elegant mask in it. Lo and behold, the marble was in there instead. Dude, it is. That's insane. What the fuck? Where's the elegant mask then I need? Chapter 3 is a very simple chapter in terms of getting to the lake. But when I do get there, I go to the firing range instantly and see what kind of charm seed I get. This seed wasn't necessarily bad, but it also wasn't very good. It was mainly bonus crafts and the lowest charm for weapon resale value. After the gotcha itch had been scratched, I moved on to Fish Farm where the gasoline had been moved. Why did this even surprise me at this point? Fortunately, it wasn't very far away, but what really shocked me was that the small key and the hexagon piece were both completely missing. I have no clue where those could possibly be, but oh well. I make my way to Del Lago and toss my unlimited supply of 3 knives and trench coats. Chapter 4 is where things get really interesting. Obviously, after 300 hours of the vanilla game, I'm going to continue to check the original key item locations, because Well, I mean, it's just muscle memory at this point, and also I don't learn my lesson. Anyways, as you could probably already tell, the head has been moved. My first thought was that it was by the yellow herb that's in the same area, and I was right. Although getting it here is a lot more dangerous because it's easy to get swarmed. I can't open the door! Holy shit, we made it. With that said, it took me a few tries, but I got out of there with the very first key item. Huzzah! Next, I went to the Way Shrine that holds the bangle, only to forget that I don't have the key because the box that has the key originally had a ruby instead. So then I shot the treasure holding the Alexandrite and moved on. I'm so used to getting an Alexandrite from this that I didn't even realize that instead of that, it dropped the key. Good meme. I went back to get the bangle, and then I made my way to the fish farm to get the rest of the blue medallions. Every set of blue medallions has been moved, and this is no different. These ones were sneaky, but not too bad. After farming some heals here, I get the red 9, and then I head to Bach Island for eggs. And then, I find that the velvet blue on Bach Island is actually a small key. Well, alright, thanks, Soup Troop. After that, I enter the cave where the next head is, except there is no head. It's another small key. This leads me to believe that the drawer next to the merchant and the drawer in the lakeside house would have answers. Especially since the only hexagon piece I found is the one in the box here. Oh, and this ruby is actually an elegant mask. Another good meme. Anyways, I make my way to the merchant to check the drawer, and it's still the pocket watch. Fair enough. I check the Way Shrine by the merchant, and it's the next hexagon piece. Yes. Things are really getting interesting here. I make my way to the lakeside house in hopes that the last hexagon piece would be in the drawer, only to discover that it's still a gold bar. I check the Way Shrine, it's the pearl bangle. Kinda running out of ideas here, so I check the hikers, and boom, I find the second statue head. That was a good find, but I'm still confused how I'm going to get to the hexagon piece puzzle. The only other place I could find is the drawer at the church, but I can already acquire the insignia to get inside. With that knowledge, I get my rifle and I fight El Gigante. He was actually pretty difficult and took a lot more bullets than usual, but hey, it was a good fight. There we go.
God damn.
Alright, holy shit, dude.
Okay.
GG's.
Let's get to that church.
He took way more damage. I hit the last blue medallion here, and I make my way to the church. Inside, I discover that there is no blue dial. It's actually the last hexagon piece. Meaning, I needed to go back to the hexagon piece puzzle to not get the treasure, but to instead get the blue dial. It's wicked smart. And this chapter was definitely the first big indication that this version of Nightmare was really, really well thought out. Ashley obtained, and the cabin awaits. There are no key items in this chapter to worry about, so surely nothing would be moved. Well, that's correct, but just because things aren't moved around doesn't mean that things just can't go completely missing. That thing was the first set of planks to board the windows in the cabin. I didn't even realize they were missing at first. Once I figured out that there were no first set of boards, I proceeded to find that the enemies would only drop 2 sets, meaning there will always be a window open. This makes things so much more chaotic, seeing as I'm constantly getting swarmed and the bull one-shots me. After many attempts, I also found out that killing the bull is not enough to end the sequence like usual. I need to kill everyone else as well. After finally accomplishing this, I happily moved on to Chapter 6, where I felt things would probably be a lot smoother than that hellhole. Oh my god, man. Jeez. Literally makes you kill everything. Oh my god. I sell the Punisher, upgrade the Red 9, and I do the despawn strat to get to the Bella Sisters. Thankfully, this event and the Crank are in the same spot, so I did a safe strat here to make things really easy. Okay, I lit them both on fire. Good. Now the only thing in my way of the castle is Mendez. His fight is a bit tricky and his grab will insta-kill you, but my experience from version 1.2 came in handy here. He is very fast in his second phase now, so you have to be quick on the dodges. Yes, got him. Hell yeah. After a couple of attempts, I successfully killed him, and I made my way to the castle. As I step into the castle, I contemplate my loadout, and I decide to sell the TMP and the shotgun, buy the riot gun, and also use Spinal to get the flashbang recipe. I would also like to show you all the Spinal store now, because look at this. The rocket launcher is 100 Spinal. What the heck, dude? I mean, everything else is, like, honestly priced pretty well, but the body armor, it seems like a good idea, but let me tell you, it is not. The first Nightmare playthrough, I invested in this, and I painfully realized that repairing it costed like 40,000 pesetas, and that was with Ada's 30% off charm. It's pretty wild. Anyways, the changes to the Spinal store are super cool, and you'll definitely see more of that later. You have to be really smart about all of this though, because if you really want that rocket launcher, you pretty much have to save as much Spinal as you can and not purchase anything. And that can be kind of detrimental to certain parts of this run. Anyways, let's move on, let's get to the castle goodies. First up, Catapults. Screw this section, honestly, nobody likes this. It sucks. The only thing that could possibly make this worse is if some random dude came about and, like, moved all of the blue down. Shit. With that said, two of them kind of escaped me, so I decided to just go back later. It's time to go say hi to the Gyarador. But with a slight twist. At the Gyarador's feet, I was shocked to find the bloodied golden sword, which is usually found at the sword puzzle. It was just the first of many item swaps to come. The Gyarador wasn't so bad, but those claws will one-shot you, so you have to be very, very careful. After killing him, I found that instead of the bloodied sword that would originally be killing this statue man, it was one of the lithographic stones needed for the puzzle in Chapter 8. This is the first time that a key item has shown up in a different chapter, but more on that later. For now, it's time to talk about crossbows. In Nightmare, they one-shot you. It is insanely punishing to let them live, so trying to do Waterhall without using up resources is practically a death sentence. Therefore, I opted to kill just about everyone here and leave slightly low on resources. Thankfully, Chapter 8 doesn't require me to use up much, and I can work towards getting some back. Oh, and while I'm here, let me interest you in a great deal. You know that body armor? Well, instead of buying it for 21 spinel, how about 500,000 pesetas? It's a good deal, come on. No? Oh, whatever, okay, suit yourself. I get myself the Heavy Nade recipe, knowing that it will get some really good use in some chapters coming up, and then I move on to the Red Zealot. Gloria Las Plagas, everyone! This room didn't really give me as much trouble as I thought it would, and I made my way to the lithographic stone puzzle pretty quick. I already have one of the stones, so that means the other two are in here somewhere. Right? Oh. Well, no. In fact, there's nothing in here other than the clock in the chest. I guess I have to go back and check the Red Zealot room. But there's also nothing here. So let's go back to Waterhall and find a small key just up here on the balcony. What even is this placement? It's a goose chase again, that's what it is. The drawer back at the first hall has one of the stones in it, but now I'm stumped as to where the third one is. After doing some serious searching around the Gyarador area, I eventually find a small key hiding in the room directly above it. My thoughts here were, oh, the drawer in the puzzle area must have it. Upon opening that, I find that it's actually still the pocket watch. At this point, I don't have any other drawers to check, and all of the other key item places have been checked. I have no idea what I'm doing now. So I might as well go lose my mind further by looking for those last two blue medallions. Funny enough, doing this is how I actually found the last lithographic stone. It's just sitting by the benches in the first plotter room. Literally just sitting on the ground. The process of finding these last medallions took about 30 minutes. God, dude. Yikes, man. Jesus Christ. Ugh. I don't want to talk about it. With that weight off my shoulders, it's time to finally get through the castle walls with the gate skips, stop the armored Gigante, find Ashley, and get through this damn maze. The maze doesn't have any big changes, but I did go out of my way to meticulously kill the dogs to make things a lot less dangerous. After raising all the flags, I head to the Grand Hall and get to the firing range for a bit of a refreshment after all of, well, that. But again, this seed sucks, so I get Lewis's charm for the resale value on the CQBR and LE5 later and just move on. With that charm obtained, I decide to sell all of my treasures and fully upgrade the Red 9 minus the exclusive. The Red 9 is just very, very good for damage output, and I'm really going to need it for a lot of scenarios, despite the inaccuracy even with the stock. The medallions here have obviously been moved as well, but they are so much more fair than Chapter 7. Those Chapter 7 medallions are probably the most unfair in the entire mod, I'm not gonna lie. But you know what else isn't fair? Is solving the snakehead puzzle and not getting the snakehead. I got a small key instead. The only other drawer left is the one at the castle walls where we use the cannon. Knowing that, I simply move on to the other rooms, starting with the lion head room, which actually had the lion head. Thank goodness. The knights here really mess you up, so you have to be careful, especially with the amount of health that they have. It's not so bad if you have some high damage output though. The goat head room is last, and I do opt for the nade trick here. But it doesn't really matter because the goat head is actually an antique pipe. Yeah. I still have to kill everyone to find the blue medallions anyways. Turns out the goat head is actually in the treasure chest below, and the medallion is hidden in the ceiling over here. This mod just does not stop delivering. Now that I have the cubic device, it's time to go check and see what's in the box in the first hall, since, well, I still need the snake head. In the first hall, these Gyarados and this red zealot are spawned, and I opt to take them out with a heavy grenade. It's a good thing I got that recipe. So, what's in the cubic device box? Well, it's just the statue to sell. So from here, I have to lead Ashley back through Waterhall and find the snake head in the room that you need to lift Ashley to access. I can move on from there, but I did decide to go all the way back to the last drawer, just in case. It turns out that it was just the beetle still, but you know, worth it for the money. With my inventory full of fish, I head back to the Grand Hall to play Ashley's section. Fortunately, her section is unchanged, so I collect all of the treasure and I finish it up pretty cleanly. Then I went the F to bed because it had been almost an 11-hour stream at that point. The next day, I started back up and headed straight to Ashley's area, where I acquired the CQBR, some treasures, and I made my first attempt at getting extra spinal from a mini-boss. I skipped the dog at Mendez's house for the sake of resources, but tackling the gold armor seemed like a good idea since my inventory was pretty healthy at the time. A bit scared about that. It's time to get medieval on you. That was so fast! What the hell? I was stubborn here. I was trying to save my flash grenades, so it took me a solid 50 minutes to finally take him down. It was well worth it, as it's a decent amount of spinal, which allowed me to net another case upgrade and sell the Matilda for a whopping 80k. That got me the exclusive for the Red 9, and that was a huge help with clearing the Novistadors. Now, Novistadors were already awful, but making them this fast and having them take all of your health in one sweep, it's brutal. Due to how punishing this entire area is, I had to make multiple saves while I cleared out the ballroom, and I made one before entering the double Gyarador room. The heavy grenade strats here make this room way less of a headache, and with the heavy grenade recipe, I can simply make more with 12 gunpowder and a regular grenade. Okay, this shit show's over. Defeating them was pretty simple, so I move on to the Pit of Doom before Verdugo. Getting through this area is pretty simple, and before I even go to Verdugo, I stop at the merchant to do some serious treasure math with the gem combinations. After mixing and matching a bunch, I have 2 butterfly lamps with full sapphires, a lynx with a yellow diamond, a sapphire, and an emerald, a clock with an alexandrite and a sapphire, and finally an elegant crown with rubies and red barrels. All of this got me 224,900 pesetas, so quite a bit. With this, I was able to upgrade my rifle just a little, and I decided to save the rest for future maxi to spend. So now, I just have to beat Verdugo. But, here's the thing. Fighting Verdugo for the 30k treasure isn't really worth it with how many resources he's going to take, and I'm going to need those resources for the Gigantes and the clock tower. The other problem is that if I don't kill him, I have to dodge his one-hit kill attacks for 5 minutes straight, all while he has increased speed. It's a pick your poison situation really, but I still stuck to looping him like a DBD survivor. After an hour of attempts, I finally escape without getting hit, and I meet up with the homie Lewis for some firing range action. Only to be reminded that this seed does indeed still suck. 30% off knife repairs. I don't even have a knife, so it doesn't matter. So yeah, I'm just gonna move on and go get that TNT to blow up that stupid boulder. Although, this room is kinda scary because of the dynamite throwing and the chainsaw swinging all being a little bit faster. The Red 9 exclusive is doing some serious work though. I take them all out, and then I discover that the TNT has indeed been moved. Thankfully, it hasn't been moved far, it's just in a spot that would have been risky with all the enemies running around. After that, it's time for the Gigantes. My thought here was to take them both out for the treasures, seeing as they have much less health than Verdugo. Unfortunately, some of the Gigante moves can one-shot me, so if the naked one switches aggro, I have no choice but to try and kill him while getting chased by the armored one, which is way harder. Thankfully, this only took a few attempts because I ended up killing the armored Gigante with the lava pit. Now, this does mean that while snagging the yellow diamond was nice, I did miss out on the red barrel. Not a huge deal, so I move on to the thrill rides, and I kill the intermission Ganados for the first time in a while to acquire the flagon. Oh! Thanks, Lewis. And these bugs are still almost one-hit kills, so it's probably in my best interest to kill them and hope for sapphires. I also stop at the merchant before Krauser to sell some treasure and use the Lewis Sarah charm finally to sell that CQBR that I keep forgetting about. With that done, I take out the last nest spot and I head towards Krauser expecting a fierce fight. To my surprise, I absolutely destroyed him, first try, with my boot knife. Fuck yeah. Might need to hush with the rookie talk, Krauser. Before taking on the clock tower, I head to the throne room to pick up the next golden egg, and also ruin Salazar's portrait. Now it's time to mention something interesting that I haven't been able to before, as this is the first time that it's relevant. That golden egg that I picked up in Chapter 4. If you've seen speedruns or challenge runs of this game already, you obviously know about picking up that golden egg and throwing it at Salazar to do almost 70% of his health. With that knowledge, pairing it with the golden egg from Salazar's throne room will take him out easily. But Multi would not just let us get away with that now, would they? No, not in nightmare mode. 2 golden eggs won't actually kill Salazar at all. You still have to pump a good amount of ammo into him before he goes down. In fact, if I didn't have those 2 golden eggs to get damage and stuns, I have a feeling I would have been trying that fight many more times, rather than the 2 attempts that it took. Blobs. I'm getting blobbed. Got him. Fuck yeah. Let's go. I pick up that fine lip balm, take out the armor doors for some extra spinal, and then take a nice boat ride with Ada. Now that I'm at the island, my first objective is to die a bunch while attempting turret skip, failing my way to success. After that, I take out the next couple groups of Gyarados for the Lynx and the Crown, kill the bull guy for the Velvet Blue, and take out everyone on my way to the kitchen to loot everything before facing the Regenerators. If you haven't already guessed, these Regenerators also one-shot you. But that's not even the issue. The real issue is that these Regenerators are so freaking fast. I mean, they're thicker than a bowl of clam chowder, but power walking like an Olympian. I died more here than I died to some of the boss fights during this playthrough. Oh. Oh, fuck.
Shit, again?
That's why I saved. After many, many embarrassing moments trying to get that gold ingot and survive the freezer room, I finally kill all of the Regenerators in the lab for gems and the wrench, and handle the group of Gyarados afterwards. Thank goodness the keycard and the wrench weren't moved around. Thanks, Multi. Chapter 14 tends to be a bit of a tricky chapter in certain challenge runs, and this mod is no different. While the first few rooms of Gyarados aren't anything to be afraid of, the Iron Maiden sure is. I mean, the Regenerators were already fast enough, but this... What? Holy shit, dude. That was like out of a fucking cartoon. Watching this in slow-mo makes it look normal, and the speed doesn't even stop when he flops. Whether he's standing or on his belly, he is zooming. After that horrific discovery, I take care of the rats. By the way, why did Capcom make them so cute if I have to kill them? What the heck, Capcom, could you not? And then I have to keep Ashley safe on the crank, and let her show off her insane reaction time on the Iron Maiden. Then it's time for the Wrecking Ball, and there was no way that I was gonna let all these Gyarados live after the grief that they caused during the knife-only run. I show them all the power of the Red 9, and Ashley shows the wall the power of Ball. Yeah. Then it's time to take care of the rest of the blue medallions and make my way to the final mini-boss. Since the rest of the Regenerators were already dead, it was a 1v1, and I cheesed him pretty good here. I almost died just now. Oh, he's dead, he's dead, he's dead. We did it. Okay. That was not too bad. Krauser is next, but before that, I decide to buy the Killer 7 for 300k and get it to max power. Upon starting the fight, I take his first phase out with the sniper with only a few scratches. And then we fly through the trap section, though it was a bit sloppy. Despite that, I get through it and I make a save before the second fight, and try it out. This is it, soldier. The second fight is actually pretty easy with how powerful my weapons are, but then there's Krauser's transformation, and in this form, he just straight up one-shots you. Every attack just annihilates Leon, and Krauser is extremely fast now. You know, I thought this would be the case, so I did prepare myself with 6 heavy nades and 10 max power Killer 7 shots. Even with all of this, if he touches me, I'm dead, so I still have to be extremely careful after the nade spam. Isn't it odd? Whoa! Okay, I hit him in the head, I think. I fucking missed.
The way you're going, there won't be anything left to protect. You'd have known that once.
I fucking missed again. There we go.
I didn't know a damn thing. Now I do.
Fuck yeah, get out of here. I'm pretty sure I got some crits. I'm not gonna lie. Like, that felt like I got crits for sure. Honestly, I have a feeling I crit him on almost every shot after those 2 misses, so I got really lucky here. Teabagged him anyways. Sorry, comrade. Oh hey, look, I have a knife now. You know, a knife. The thing that you're supposed to get at the beginning of the game, you know, a knife that you can repair when it breaks. Mm-hmm. Awesome. Alright. Glad we covered that. Anyways, Chapter 15. Boy, do I love 5-4, said no one ever. Honestly, as bad as this chapter can be for challenge runs and speedruns, I handled things pretty well, and I also made plenty of safety saves during Mike's sections before War Room. After using up almost all of my ammo, I left War Room to hunt down the last blue medallions in the game. Well, I mean, after getting killed by one of these Novistadors in one hit, of course, because that makes sense. Yep, mm-hmm. These medallions weren't anything difficult, really, but the thing about this that really disappointed me was that I just don't have enough spinal saved up for the rocket launcher. In hindsight, killing the mutt at Mendez's house might have been the right call for this, and maybe selling 1 golden egg and skipping the flash recipe? I don't know, you do the math. Oh well, a bit of a disappointment, but I continue with confidence anyways, and I avoid the regenerators and take on the last room of Gyarados in the game. This area is loaded with one-hit kill enemies. They've got Novistadors, the return of Man-Bear Pig, a Bull, a Rocket Launcher Gyarado, Axe Throwers with shields, a Dynamite Guy, Stun Rods, Crossbows. It's just pure chaos trying to do any type of speed strat here, so I opt to take it slow and just kill everything. It leads me to the last room of Novi's, where I pick up the pendant, and it's time to finally fight Sadler. And let me be clear, he is easily the hardest part of this entire mod. He one-shots you without body armor, his increased speed makes it very difficult to run around for better angles on his eyes, and the Novis are more dangerous than ever. I don't have the rocket launcher because I didn't save enough spinal, so I sell a ton of stuff to the merchant, spend my spinal on magnum ammo, the upgrade ticket for the Killer 7 exclusive, and the body armor. I have 12 shots in the Killer 7, 12 shots in the rifle, 6 in the Broken Butterfly, a bunch for the Red 9, 2 heavy nades, and 3 regular grenades. I have to be honest, this was not the most optimal loadout, and I probably could have planned things out a bit better, but it's still pretty good, right? At least for damage, that is. With that said, my high damage is really only going to make up for my lack of utility if I get crits with the Killer 7 like I did with Krauser. Even though my plan worked for Krauser, having it work for Sadler was just so much less likely. His health is through the roof, and if he touches me with anything, I'm dead. Even if Sadler doesn't touch me, I have all these Novistadors to take care of as well. Not only that, but Sadler has an attack where he just lands next to you and like the floor rumbles and Leon takes damage. I don't know, dude, it's really dumb, but you die from that. The floor is too rumbly and Leon just gives up. He's just done. He just dies on the spot because floor is rumbling. With the plethora of random attacks that Sadler can just throw at you, his QTE attack is extremely frustrating because it's almost too fast to react to at times, depending on what you're doing. Honestly, this is just a really, really hard fight. No matter how good you are at parries or movement or what your weapon loadout might be, if you don't have the rocket here, you are in for a wild ride. With that said, I died an absolute ton here, and I'm just gonna let you watch the entire successful fight in all of its glory. But no, you fucking Peter Griffin me. See, I told you. Yeah, no, it really is the Peter Griffin. Actual. I can't believe I even parried that. That was, Stop it. No Vistador. Cramping my star right now. Stop with the Novistadors already, man. Okay. Got him. Fuck it, I'm running. The Novistadors are just making me panic too much. Oh, nice boot knife. Yeah, that's really what I needed. I needed the boot knife. I shot you. What? Oh, fuck, 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 fuck. Oh, whoa. Good shot. Okay. Did I get any crits? I can't even tell if I got any crits there. Shit. Got one. Sick. Oh, yes! I did get crits! Fuck yes! Fuck yeah! Fuck yeah, dude. Oh my god. Finally!
Finally, a look that suits you, Sadler.
Holy shit.
Still, I need to cut this date short. It's not me. It's you.
Do I have any other weapons? I have a rifle shot. Oh, I guess I have the heavy nade I could throw. Nice, that worked. That fucking worked, dude. Heavy nades. Pulling through. Let's fucking go, dude. Oh my god, man. Ah, holy shit.
I'll give you a holy body.
As you can see, my plan finally worked. I got the crits, and I gave Sadler that holy body. Boy, did it feel good to conquer Nightmare again. Mods as interesting as this are seemingly a rarity in the Resident Evil games in the RE engine, so I just wanted to give a huge thanks to Multi202 for continuing to work on this awesome mod. Version 1.2 was already pretty interesting, but version 1.3 is now something that I truly think is amazing for the community. I look forward to seeing what else Multi cooks up in the future, and I would encourage everyone to support their work so that we can get more mods like this for past and future games. If you would like to check out the Nightmare mod for yourself, I'll leave a link in the description. As with all of my other videos, this challenge was fully streamed on my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/maxilobes, where I stream full-time. Feel free to drop me a follow there, and make sure you're subscribed here as well for more speedrun and challenge run related content. I'll put some past videos that might interest you on the end screen here. As always, thank you so much for watching, much love, and I will see you again soon for another thrilling speedrunning story. Or challenge run story, or something along the lines, you know the spiel.